This morning on social media, Donald Trump once again attacked the oldest university in America, saying, "We are still waiting for the foreign student lists from Harvard so that we can determine, after a ridiculous expenditure of billions of dollars, how many radicalized lunatics, troublemakers all, should not be let back into our country." Harvard is very slow in the presentation of these documents, and probably for good reason. The best thing Harvard has going for it is that they have shopped around and found the absolute best judge for them, but have no fear the government will, in the end, win. I am considering taking $3 billion of grant money away from a very anti-Semitic Harvard and giving it to trade schools all across our land. What a great investment that would be for the USA, and so badly needed. Joining our discussion now is Professor Laurence Tribe, who has taught constitutional law at Harvard Law School for 5 decades. Professor Tribe, what is your response to Donald Trump's latest attack?
Well, it's really hard, Lawrence, to know where to begin. He's obviously unhinged. He has no idea what he's talking about. He just thinks that slinging around, frankly, BS about the people at Harvard and other institutions will somehow substitute for taking the law into account. He has been throwing everything he can at Harvard, and courts have put a stop to it. There was no judge shopping. The district court that happens to have the other Harvard case, the federal district court in Boston, with a very capable judge, Allison Burroughs, obviously has this case. It's closely related. This case involves Trump's attempt to tell Harvard that it can no longer host foreign students. Now, that's crazy. There's no legal basis for it. He's talking about information that he would like about students. He wants to know details about what they say, what they think. That's a violation of the First Amendment. But put it in perspective. Harvard is going to admit about 25,000 new students. They're entering in 4 months. 18,000 of them are Americans. Those 18,000 eagerly await something like 7,000 foreign students whom Trump is trying to basically frighten into throwing away their hard-fought, well-earned admission letter, the letter that tells them they are the best and the brightest from around the world. And he's doing that by threatening, with no legal basis, Harvard's right to admit them. There's a program called the Student Exchange Visitor Program. For 70 years, Harvard has been admitting the most brilliant students and scholars from around the world. They are welcomed not only by Harvard, but by the United States, because what they learn, what they discover, benefits the country and benefits the health and welfare of all Americans. We used to have a program, it was called Operation Paperclip, to attract the most brilliant students from the countries we defeated in World War II. Many of the people who came to this country, like Albert Einstein, made this a mecca of discovery and learning. But obviously, this is a president who hates intellect, who despises the symbol of excellence in the world of higher education around the world. He thinks he can score points by attacking Harvard. But I have a message, and it's a message that I wouldn't bother delivering to him. I don't know that he'd understand it, but a message to those 7 students, those 7,000 students that he's trying to frighten away. Don't be scared. This guy is a paper tiger. He's a tin horn tyrant. In the month of May, there were all kinds of cases across the country, judges appointed by Republicans and Democrats, involving Donald Trump and his megalomaniac attacks on all of our institutions. And you know what his record was? He lost over 95% of them. Just a couple of hours after his lawless and savage claim that he was going to shut down Harvard as a host for foreign students. Just a couple of hours after that, of course, Judge Burroughs entered a temporary restraining order. She's going to hold a hearing this Thursday. I will be interested in hearing what in the world Harvard will confront, what in the world Trump's lawyers can possibly argue. There is no law that justifies what they're trying to do, and their attempt to retaliate against Harvard for not turning over all kinds of information to which they have no right in violation of the privacy of these students, retaliating against Harvard for having a curriculum that this president doesn't like, not that he understands it. That retaliation is flagrantly and flatly unconstitutional. Among other things, picking out by name a particular institution is what the framers of our Constitution called a bill of attainder. He is trying to basically destroy a particular institution, and then he'll turn to others. But right now, he's named one, and 7,000 identifiable students who've been admitted. He knows their names. It's not a secret. They have admission letters. He's trying to target all of these people for retaliation. So if you want to know what my answer is see you in court, Mr. President.
Yeah, this demand he makes today, he says he's waiting for the foreign student lists from Harvard. All of their visas are granted by the State Department, every one of them. The State Department knows every single student visa that it has issued. And so part of the madness that he spews just includes stuff like that is right. Not doesn't require some kind of, special discovery from Harvard or from any institution.
Right. In fact, that's the story of this whole case. He keeps coming up with crazy demands, either for information he already has or for information he has no right to have. He wants to know what the, basically, if you read closely what he's asking for, he basically wants to know what these students are going to read. He would love to know what they're going to say, what they're going to think. He wants to be confident that they won't join any protests against Israel's war in Gaza. It's all an attempt to take over the intellectual underpinnings of a private university. And anybody who isn't connected to Harvard shouldn't feel, confident that they won't be next. The one thing we have going for us is the law. And what is clear is that federal courts, regardless of who appointed them, have some fidelity to the law. They actually care about it. And they have been successful very quickly in telling Trump to stop. Now, it is true that no member of the Trump administration has yet been held in contempt. But just wait. Proceedings are underway. Contempt findings and criminal contempt findings are not at all unlikely. And the only reason that's taking time is that our judges are trying very hard to make absolutely sure that they dot every I, cross every T, and that their contempt adjudications will be upheld. Then Trump is likely to say, well, they've been held in contempt, but I'm going to pardon them. Well, the pardon power doesn't really extend to contempt of court when it's criminal contempt inherent in the court's own power. He likes to pardon people if they are on his side and if they engage in violence, but that isn't going to help here. So clearly, it's not a situation in which students ought to be scared, although it's hard to blame them. It's not so hard for me. somebody who was born to Russian Jewish refugees in war-torn Shanghai, who was welcomed to this country at the end of World War II to honor the people who sacrificed their lives so we could enjoy the fruits of freedom. And it's pretty easy for me to see Memorial Day as an occasion to stand up to somebody like this tyrant. It's harder for lots of foreign students who face these threats and wonder, am I safe? But the siren of safety in succumbing to lawless power is really illusory. If you give up in advance, that's when you're not safe. But trust me, Harvard has your back because you are crucial to us and to our survival. The intellect that you bring to Harvard and to the country is something we value and need, so we're on your side. And America's judges have your back because you're prevailing over Trump in this lawless war he is waging on the mind is vital to our courts and their survival as keepers of the flame of the rule of law. So yes, you've got an enemy in this deranged Donald Trump, but you've got millions of friends, and they will support you. That's why I think that the threats that this deranged president is making in these ludicrous tweets should not be taken seriously, although the threat he poses to the country is as serious as hell.
Harvard Law Professor Laurence Tribe, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lawrence.